Hi, this is the Wonder Novel Study. We are starting with pages 127 to 141 today. I'll be reading that aloud. I will not be going over the worksheet for those of you that are in my classroom. You'll be responsible for filling that in on your own. 127. Warning, this kid is rated R. I had warned Mom about August's face. I had described what he looked like. I did this because I know she's not good at faking her feelings, and August was coming over for the first time today. I even sent her a text at work to remind her about it. But I could tell from the expression on her face when she came home after work that I hadn't prepared her enough. She was shocked when she came through that door and saw his face for the first time. "Hi, Mom, this is Augie. Can he stay for dinner?" I asked quickly. It took a second for my question to even register. "Hi, Augie," she said. Of course, sweetheart, if it's okay with Augie's mother." While Augie called his mother on the cell phone, I whispered to Mom, "Stop making that weirded out face." She had that look like she was watching the news and some heroic event had happened. She nodded quickly like she hadn't realized she was making a face and was really nice and normal to Augie afterward. After a while, Augie and I got tired of working on our projects and went to hang out in the living room. Augie was looking at the pictures on the mantle and he saw a picture of me and Daddy. "Is that your dad?" he asked. "Yeah. I didn't know you were... what's the word? Biracial?" "Right, that's the word. Yeah." He looked at the picture again. "Are your parents divorced?" "I've never seen him at drop-off or anything." "Oh no," I said. "He was a platoon sergeant. He died a few years ago." "Whoa, I didn't know that." "Yeah," I nodded, handing him a picture of my dad in his uniform. "Wow, look at all those medals." "Yeah, he was pretty awesome." "Wow, Summer, I'm sorry." "Yeah, it sucks. I miss him a lot." "Yeah, wow," he nodded, handing me back the picture. "Have you ever known anyone who died?" I asked. "Just my grandmother, and I don't even remember her." "That's too bad." Augie nodded. "You ever wonder what happens to people when they die?" I asked. "Not really, he shrugged. "I guess they go to heaven. That's where my grands went." "I think about it a lot," I said. "I think when people die, their souls go to heaven, but just for a little while. Like that's where they see their old friends and stuff and kind of catch up on old times. But then I actually think the souls start thinking about their lives on earth, like if they were good or bad or whatever. And then they get born again as brand new babies in the world." "Why would they want to do that?" "Because they get another chance to get it right," I answered. "Their souls get a chance to have a do-over." He thought about what I was saying and then nodded. "Kind of like when you get a makeup test," he said. "Right. But they don't come back looking the same," he said. They look completely different when they come back, right?" "Oh yeah," I answered. "Your soul stays the same, but everything else is different." "I like that," he said, nodding a lot. "I really like that, Summer. That means in my next life I won't be stuck with this face." He pointed to his face when he said that and batted his eyes, which made me laugh. "I guess not," I shrugged. "Hey, I might even be handsome," he said, smiling. "That would be so awesome, wouldn't it? I could come back and be this good-looking dude and be super buff and super tall." I laughed again. He was such a good sport about himself. That's one of the things I like most about Augie. "Hey, Augie, can I ask you a question?" "Yeah," he said like he knew exactly what I wanted to ask. I hesitated. I've been wanting to ask him this for a while, but I've always lost the guts to ask. "What?" he said. "You want to know what's wrong with my face?" "Yeah, I guess, if it's okay for me to ask." He shrugged. I was so relieved that he didn't seem mad or sad. "Yeah, it's no big deal," he said casually. "The main thing I have is this thing called mandibulofacial dystosis, which took me forever to learn how to pronounce, by the way. But I also have this other syndrome thing that I can't even pronounce. And these things kind of just morph together into one big super thing, which is so rare they don't even have a name for it. I don't want to brag or anything, but I'm actually considered something of a medical wonder, you know?" He smiled. "That was a joke," he said. "You can laugh." I smiled and shook my head. "You're funny, Augie," I said. "Yes, I am," he said proudly. "I am cool beans." The Egyptian tomb. Over the next month, August and I hung out a lot after school, either at his house or my house. August's parents even invited Mom and me over for dinner a couple times. I overheard them talking about fixing Mom up on a blind date with August's Uncle Ben. On the day of the Egyptian Museum exhibit, we were all really excited and kind of giddy. It had snowed the day before, not as much as it had snowed over Thanksgiving break, but still, snow is snow. The gym was turned into this giant museum with everyone's Egyptian artifact displayed on a table with a little caption card explaining what the thing was. Most of the artifacts were really great, but I have to say I really think mine and August were the best. My sculpture of Anubis looked really cool, and I had even used real gold paint on it. and August had made his step pyramid out of sugar cubes. It was 2 feet high and 2 feet long, and he had painted the cubes this kind of fake sand paint or something. It looked awesome. We all dressed up in Egyptian costumes. Some of the kids were Indiana Jones type archaeologists. Some of them dressed up like pharaohs. August and I dressed up like mummies. Our faces were covered except for 2 little holes for the eyes and 1 little hole for the mouth. When the parents showed up, they all lined up in a hallway in front of the gym. Then we were told we could go get our parents, and each kid got to take his or her parent on a flashlight tour through the dark gym. August and I took our moms around together. We stopped at each exhibit, explaining what it was, talking in whispers, answering questions. Since it was dark, we used our flashlights to illuminate the artifacts while we were talking. Sometimes, for dramatic effect, we would hold the flashlights under our chins while we were explaining something in detail. It was so much fun hearing all these whispers in the dark, seeing all the lights zigzagging around the dark room. At one point, I went over to get a drink at the water fountain. I had to take the mummy wrap off my face. "Hey, Summer," said Jack, who came over to talk to me. He was dressed like the man from the Mummy. "Cool costume." "Thanks." "Is the other mummy August?" "Yeah." Hey, do you know why August is mad at me?" "Uh-huh," I nodded. "Can you tell me?" "No." I told him I wouldn't tell you, I explained. "It's so weird," he said. "I have no idea why he's mad at me at all of a sudden. None. Can't you at least give me a hint?" I looked over at where August was across the room, talking to our moms. I wasn't about to break my solid oath that I wouldn't tell anyone what he had overheard at Halloween, but I felt bad for Jack. "Bleeding scream," I whispered in his ear, and then I walked away. We are now ready for part 4. This is going to be Jack Will's point of view. The call. So in August, my parents got this call from Mr. Tushman, the middle school director, and my mom said maybe he calls all the new students to welcome them. That's a lot of kids he'd be calling. So my mom called him back, and I could hear her talking to Mr. Tushman on the phone. This is exactly what he said. "Oh, hi, Mr. Tushman. This is Amanda Will returning your call." Pause. "Oh, thank you. That's nice of you to say. He is looking forward to it." "Yes." "Yeah." "Oh, sure." "Oh. Uh-huh." "Well, that's so nice of you to say." "Sure." "Oh. Wow. Oh. I see, of course. I'm sure he will. Let me write it down. Got it. I'll call you after I've had a chance to talk to him, okay?" "No, thank you for thinking of him. Bye-bye." And when she hung up, I was like, "What's up? What did he say?" "Well, actually, it's very flattering," Mom said, "but kind of sad, too. At least this boy who started middle school this year, and he's never been to a real school environment before because he was homeschooled. So Mr. Tushman talked to some of the lower school teachers to find out who they thought were some of the really, really great kids coming into 5th grade. And the teachers must have told him you were a especially nice kid, which I already knew, of course. And so Mr. Tushman is wondering if you could count on you to sort of shepherd this new boy around a bit." "Like hang out with him?" I said. "Exactly. He called it being a welcome buddy." "But why me?" "I told you. Your teachers told Mr. Tushman that you were the kind of kid who's known for being a good egg. I mean, I'm so proud that they think so highly of you. Why is it sad?" "What do you mean?" "You said it's flattering, but kind of sad too." "Oh. Well, apparently this boy has some sort of, I guess there's something wrong with his face or something like that. Not sure. Maybe he was in an accident. Mr. Tushman said he'd explain a bit more when you come into school next week." "School doesn't start till September." "He wants you to meet the kid before school starts." "Do I have to?" Mom looked a bit surprised. "Well, no, of course not," she said, "but it'd be nice thing to do, Jack." "If I don't have to do it, I don't want to do it." "Can you at least think about it?" "Well, I'm not going to force you, but at least think about it some more, okay?" "I'm not calling Mr. Tushman back until tomorrow." "I mean, Jack, I really don't think it's that much to ask that you spend a little extra time with some new kid." "It's not just that he's a new kid, Mom. He's deformed." "That's a terrible thing to say, Jack." "He is, Mom. You don't even know who he is." "Yeah, I do, because I knew the second she started talking about him that it was this kid named August. I remember seeing him for the first time in front of the Carvel on Amsford Avenue when I was 5 or 6. Me and Veronica, my babysitter, were sitting on the bench with my baby brother who was sitting in the stroller. I guess I was busy eating my ice cream cone because I didn't even notice the people who sat down next to us. Then at one point I turned my head and that's when I saw him, August. He was sitting right next to me. I know it wasn't cool, but I went when I saw him because I honestly got scared. I thought he was wearing a zombie mask or something. It was a kind of you say when you're watching a scary movie and the bad guy jumps out of the bushes. Anyway, I know it wasn't nice of me to do, and though the kid didn't hear me, I know his sister did. Jack, we have to go, said Veronica. She got up and was turning the stroller around with Jamie in it. So I jumped kind of suddenly, like a bee landed on me, and I followed Veronica as she zoomed away. I could hear the kid's mom saying softly behind us, "Okay, guys, I think it's time to go." I turned around to see the kid licking his ice cream cone, and Mom was picking up his scooter, and the sister was glaring at me like she was going to kill me. I looked away quickly. "Veronica, what's wrong with that kid?" "Hush, boy," she said in her angry voice. I love Veronica, but when she got mad, she got mad. Meanwhile, Jamie was practically spilling out of his stroller, trying to stare as Veronica pushed him away. "But Veronica," said Jamie, "you boys are very naughty, very naughty. Stop staring like that." "I didn't mean to," I said. "Veronica," said Jamie. "Us leaving like that. Oh, Lord, that poor lady. I tell you, boys, every day we should thank the Lord for our blessings. Do you hear me?" "Veronica." "What is it, Jamie? Is it Halloween?" "No, Jamie." "Then why is that boy wearing a mask?" Veronica didn't answer. "He wasn't wearing a mask," I explained. "Hush, Jack." "Why are you so mad, Veronica?" "It was bad how we did that," she said. "Just getting up like that, like we'd seen the devil. I was scared for what Jamie was going to say. I didn't want him to say anything that would hurt that little boy's feelings. But it was very bad, us leaving like that. The mom knew what was going on." "But we didn't mean it," I answered. "Jack, sometimes you don't have to mean to hurt somebody. You understand?" That was the first time I ever saw August. But I've seen him around ever since, a couple times at the playground. He used to wear an astronaut helmet. All the kids in the neighborhood knew it was him underneath that helmet. Everyone has seen August at some point or another around the neighborhood. We all know his name, though he doesn't know ours. And whenever I've seen him, I try to remember what Veronica said, but it's hard. It's hard not to sneak a second look. It's hard to act normal when you see him. Why I changed my mind. Who else did Mr. Tushman call? Did he tell you? Oh, he mentioned Julian and Charlotte. Julian? Why Julian? Ugh! He used to be friends with Julian. Mom, that was like kindergarten. He's trying so hard to be popular all the time. He's the biggest phony. Well, at least Julian agreed to help. Got to give him credit for that. I didn't say anything because she was right. What about Charlotte? Is she going it too? Yes, of course. She's a goody two-shoes, I answered. Boy, Jack, you seem to have a problem with everybody these days. It's just, Mom, you have no idea what this kid looks like. I can imagine. No, you can't. You've never seen him. I have. It might not even be who you think it is. Trust me, I'm telling you, it's really, really bad, Mom. He's deformed. His eyes are like down here. I pointed to my cheeks. He has no ears, and his mouth is like... Jamie had walked into the kitchen to get a juice box from the fridge. Ask Jamie. Jamie, right? Remember that kid we saw in the park after school last year? The kid named August, the one with the face? Mommy, yes. Remember? He gave me a nightmare. The nightmare about zombies from last year. I thought that was from watching a scary movie, Mom answered. No, it was from seeing that kid. When I saw him, I was like, ah, and I ran away. Wait a minute. Did you really do that in front of him? Mom said. I couldn't help it, said Jamie, kind of whining. Of course you could help it. Guys, I have to tell you, I'm really disappointed in what I'm hearing. I mean, honestly, he's just a little boy like you. Can you imagine how he felt seeing you run away from him, Jamie, screaming? It wasn't a scream. It was like, ah! And he put his hands on his cheeks and started running around the kitchen. Come on, Jamie. I honestly thought both of my boys were more sympathetic than that. What's sympathetic? Jamie was only going into second grade. You know exactly what I mean, sympathetic, Jamie, Mom said. It's just he's so ugly, Mommy, said Jamie. Hey, I don't like that word. Jamie, get your juice box. I want to talk to Jack alone for a second. Look, Jack. I knew she was going to give me a whole speech. Okay, I'll do it, I said. You will? Yes. So I can call Mr. Tushman? Yes, Mom, yes. I said yes. Mom smiled. I knew you'd rise to the occasion, kiddo. Good for you. I'm proud of you, Jackie. And she messed up my hair. Mom, here's why I changed my mind. It wasn't so I wouldn't have to hear Mom give me a whole lecture. And it wasn't to protect this August kid from Julian, who I know would be a jerk about the whole thing. It was because I heard Jamie talking about how he had run away from August going, ah! I suddenly felt really bad. The thing is, there are always going to be kids like Julian who are jerks. But if a little kid like Jamie, who's usually a nice enough kid, can be that mean, then a kid like August doesn't stand a chance in middle school.